Greetings. This is Doc Ock here. Doc Ock at noon and 9, feeling really fine, getting ready to deal with something that's down almost divine. Presenting to you this evening the story of Roy Wilkins. You know, we just lost one of the great civil leaders of all time, John Lewis. He just passed, bless his soul, as well as C.T. Vivian, who you may not know of, but I don't know that he has a book like this one I'm getting ready to read about Roy Wilkins, but there's certainly some information out there about both of them. And actually, we'll be doing some reading at our 12 o'clock edition on John Lewis within a, probably not this week, but probably the following week. So look for that around the first week or second week of August. But meanwhile, here we go with our proverb of the day. Blind horse knows when the trough is empty. Blind horse knows when the trough is empty. Now, the trough they're talking about, that's a horse trough. So that's like even a blind man would know when his bowl is empty. Okay, basically it would go like that. And this is another one of those quaint plantation proverbs, or it's definitely it's an African American proverb. All right. Now, meanwhile, let's move on. Let's see what else we got here for you tonight. Now, we read last night. We read about the colored zoo. Now, I had another one that could go along with that one about the colored zoo. Here it is. Oh, wow. Yep, that's a little bit long. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do that and Roy Wilkins tonight, I don't think. Let me just check and see here. See how long Roy Wilkins' piece is. We might almost make it. Might almost make it. I tell you what. Let's see how we do on the Roy Wilkins. And if we do good on the Roy Wilkins piece, then I'll read this other one to you here by Langston Hughes. It's another Langston Hughes piece. Okay? Little survival humor. So in the meanwhile, let's carry on with the piece on Roy Wilkins. Roy Wilkins, born in St. Louis, Missouri on August 30th, 1901. After his mother died in 1906, his father sent him and his younger brother and sister to St. Paul, Minnesota, where they were raised by their aunt and uncle. After high school, he attended the University of Minnesota and became an editor on the school newspaper. He earned money for his education by working as a caddy, dishwasher, porter, and a waiter. Although he had faced only mild forms of injustice, he won the school speaking contest for his strong speech against lynching and found the time to serve as an officer of the St. Paul branch of the NAACP. After graduation, Wilkins became a reporter on the Kansas City Call, a quote-unquote militant Missouri newspaper. Now, I don't know what kind of paper is militant. I'm not really clear on that, what makes a newspaper militant, but that's how they describe it here. We must have better schools. They're spending $975,000 on the white schools. Now, this is back in probably had to be in the 30s or the 40s. On the white schools, athletic field, and only $27,500 to convert a factory into a school for the colored children. His attacks on segregation and violence brought him fame, and he soon became the managing editor of the newspaper. Another house was bombed. Check it out. He tells one of his workers, his journalist, let that company know that we won't buy where we can't work. He tells another reporter. He also became a leader in the Kansas City branch of the NAACP. And his work for them added to his reputation. He doesn't deserve our vote. Let's give the other side a chance. Oh, okay. So he moved to Kansas City, Missouri. Okay. So from Minnesota to Kansas City, Missouri. Roy Wilkins' good work did not go unnoticed, and in 1931, he joined the NAACP headquarters staff in New York as assistant secretary. Our report on discrimination at the Federal Flood Control Project has been ignored. We need more information. I'd like you to get it. The black workers were paid only 10 cents an hour, and the work camps and living conditions were terrible. Wilkins lived in camps and worked as a laborer while gathering information. If he had been caught, he probably would have been lynched. A booklet was prepared informing Congress and the public of the wages and conditions. An investigation was held. We must set standards for conditions and wages, and they did. In 1932, the Attorney General called a conference on crime, but refused to include lynching. So Roy Wilkins picketed, and you know what happened to him during that picket? Yeah, he was arrested. Soon after, he became the editor of The Crisis, the NAACP monthly magazine, which he ran until 1949. The Crisis is used to explain NAACP programs and objectives and to create public opinion in favor of equal rights and brotherhood. Sure, you can borrow it, he tells a friend of his. In 1950, he was appointed administrator with Walter White and Thurgood Marshall. He worked on voting rights, school segregation, fair employment practices, etc. But many homes and churches were bombed, and black people were beaten and killed for doing what? You know what? Trying to vote. Reverend Lee was shot because he thought he should vote like other Americans. We are demanding an investigation by the FBI. But they continued to register and vote in greater numbers in spite of the violence. And in 1954, they won a great victory when the U.S. Supreme Court decision overturned public school segregation. Gentlemen, this is the dawn of a new day, says Roy Wilkins to Thurgood Marshall and Walter White. The following year, after the death of Walter White, Wilkins was elected executive secretary of the NAACP. So he took over from Walter White that we read about on the previous occasion. We've got to get the president, the Congress, the courts, and the people more involved in our struggle for equal rights. For over 80 years, each effort to pass civil rights bills was defeated. As chairman of the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, Roy Wilkins, I know this bill is very weak, but it is a beginning. Tell your congressman to pass it, and better bills will follow. Wilkins was right. After the passage of the 1957 Civil Rights Bill, stronger bills and executive orders followed, and Roy Wilkins played a major role in each. First time I've heard of a 1957 Civil Rights Bill. During those years, there were sit-ins of every type, boycotts, freedom rides, and marches, and Wilkins, through the NAACP, supported these efforts with either legal services, bail bonds, financial aid, or leadership. Mr. Wilkins, the NAACP has been called on to defend 1,600 students arrested in sit-ins. Negro youth is finished with racial segregation, says Roy Wilkins. And Wilkins, too, was again arrested for picketing. Roy Wilkins also played an important role in the historic March on Washington, the nation's greatest demonstration for freedom, equal rights, and human dignity. Roy Wilkins has fought segregation throughout his career and speaks out against anyone, black or white, who favors separation. I wish more people really knew how difficult it's been to get this far, and if we favor racial separation on any level, we'll find ourselves right back where we started. Under his skillful leadership, the NAACP has doubled its membership, its staff, and now has more than 1,700 branch offices and youth groups. We must work to rid the country of poverty and slums. We must also try to improve employment, health services, and the quality of education. Roy Wilkins is the author of many articles which have appeared in all of the major magazines and he also writes 2 newspaper columns. He has received many awards for his service in the cause of human rights, including the Medal of Freedom, which is this country's highest civil honor. Roy Wilkins, you are a unique American whose contributions transcend the boundaries of both time and place. Much remains to be done. The nation has the resources and know-how to do all of the following: abolish hunger and poverty, establish an acceptable minimum standard of living, assure gainful employment to every employable adult, replace slums with decent housing, and provide quality education and adequate health services. All that has been lacking is what? The will. We must provide that will. And that, my friends, is the story of Roy Wilkins. Another great humanitarian, philanthropist, and activist in the name of human rights, equality, justice, and freedom in the USA. So let's remember the lessons that let's remember his lesson that he's given us from the way that he lived his life as we continue to live our own. Meanwhile, it's time for all you little children to lay those little heads down on those little pillows, on those little beds, and close those eyes. And as you do that tonight, I want you to sleep right, sleep tight, and please don't let the bed bugs bite. Meanwhile, all you adults out there, go ahead and do what you know you need to do, which is give us a thumbs up if you're looking at us on YouTube, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go ahead, give us a like, and then give us a share. That's how you show everybody that you care. We really do appreciate all of your support, both moral, financial, spiritual, and otherwise. So this is Doc Ock signing off. We'll see you tomorrow. Doc Ock at noon and 9. Hoping to see you.